guys, I'm back, and from the title of this video you can probably tell what we're doing today. We're going to be starting or finishing, or depending on how much of this I upload, building a Triumph 2500 engine, removed from a 2500, not a GT6. So this is the 130 something horsepower engine. I've got it hooked up to the crane here now, and as you can see it has seen better days. It was pulled out of a bush, it turns freely, and that is all I know about it. So what we're doing now is we are going to get it on an engine stand, which I've got sitting over there, get it in the air, strip it down, see what we're dealing with. Judging by the condition of the clutch, I'd say it's not moved in quite a while. Look at the state of that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get this engine on the engine stand, and then I'm going to build myself a desk out of a shelving unit that was from Lidl. And they are pretty good shelving units, to be fair. I've got quite a few of them. I've got two in here, and I've got one at the yard, and obviously another one to go up here. Brilliant little shelves, and it's nice that you can build them halfway, so you can have a little desk as well. So let's stop talking. Let's get it on engine stand. Okay, so some progress has been made. Not on the engine. Got two little shelves, shelving units. My floor's a little bit uneven, unfortunately, so there's a gap between the middle. I can't go all the way to the back, so I'm going to be very careful not to drop all of my nuts and bolts. I've already christened it. Got the clutch cover on there. Alright, I suppose we should try and tackle this thing next. Zoom out a little bit there, as you can see. And the first thing I'm going to do is take the cam cover off. Say cam cover, it's a rocker cover on these things. Take that off and see what we got inside there. Just start stripping it apart, really. See what comes apart and see what doesn't, and then cry when it doesn't. Sounds like a good plan, doesn't it? Let's do that. Never impact chrome sockets. Me saying before this engine was removed, the car was sat in a bush for a long time. Yeah, well, I've just been on an archaeology dig just to find the bloody sump plug. Black oil. Lots and lots of dead oil on top of the rocker shaft, as you can see there. All of that we'll clean up, which was nice. No dramas so far. We have got one seized bolt on the front here, but I may use a bit of heat in a minute to try and get that off. But I've absolutely soaked everything in D-block that I can see, hoping that is going to help some of these bolts come undone. We shall see. Top tip for you Triumph guys. These sump plugs are not magnetic, but the ones in the gearboxes are, and they fit. I would show you, but it's currently in the engine of that one, which is blown up. But I promise you, if you've got a spare gearbox laying around, pull the sump plug out of it and use it in the bottom of your engine, because if there's any swarf flying around in there, this catches it. Yeah, it's being a bit like that. Oh well. Only two on the water pump, the one underneath is stuck as well. This one's come undone. Pulled the stud out though, so I won't be able to get the nut off. That's fine. Get that off, and we've only got that one on the housing to go off after that. Wait until this thing's glowing red. Not glowing, but I have got bored, so we shall see. Oh, it's still very stuck. Maybe I should go a bit longer. Yeah, I'm going to go a bit longer on that, I think. Once again, still not glowing, but woohoo! That's one. Now let's just do that for these other three stuck bolts. The worst one I'm going to leave till last, because why not? I wanted to keep hold of this housing really, because I don't need it, because I've got a housing on the Triumph over there, on the Spitfire over there, because it's got a 2 litre in it, which is the same engine as this pretty much. Yeah, so I wanted to try and keep hold of the housing, because, you know, it might come in handy, somebody might want it. So rather than just cutting shit off. Ew, crusty. It fell off. It's hot, so I wasn't about to touch it. It nearly hit my my bottle of fire. That would have been bad. So, what I'm going to do now, rather than tackle that bolt, which would be the sensible thing to do, I'm going to take the pipe off instead. Absolute bone idle, yes! Woohoo! Yay! Well, I'll be honest, I'm not particularly looking forward to this one. Oh, that's hot. Yeah, so it's going to be stuck somewhere in the head there, so I'm going to heat the head up. Whenever you're heating a bolt up, you should always heat round the bolt, not not the bolt, because heat makes things expand. Yeah, you want to expand the thing that's on the outside, not on the inside. So see what we can do. I have a sneaky suspicion this one might snap. If one of them's going to happen, it's going to be this one, let's be honest. That is the last bolt though, so I'd really like it to come out. Just proof that miracles can actually happen. A little bit of patience, a little bit of heat, and that is free. What happened is I actually, it was that, oh dear, might not be able to use that in the end anyway. What happened is that bolt had actually got seized in the in this housing, and I was able to get the whole housing to move on the head, so I knew they weren't stuck in the head. So I just heated up, well I'm not going to touch it, but I heated the side of it up where the bolt runs through it, and yeah, after about 5 minutes of blasting propane mix onto it, it decided it was going to come undone. More crust. That's good, yeah. Restoration project. Well, if my random socket doesn't give it away, the next thing I'm going to take off here is the rocker shaft. Yeah, pretty simple. Undo the bolts, take it off. Pull out your pins, label them, which end they went, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then it'll be cylinder head off, and we can see what we got in the terms of worn cylinder bore, which I'm hoping is going to be okay. I'm going to have to go a little bit overkill on this, because the one thing I haven't invested in is a complete set of adapters to start with, and a 1/2 inch ratchet, small one, so at least we can get it undone. Right, so I've got to a point where I've taken the rocker cover off. Rocker cover? Oh fucking hell, that was the first thing I did. The rocker shaft is off. Easy enough job, just undo the bolts. You've got to do it in sequence to make sure you don't bend nothing. It's the right way to do it. So just try and evenly distribute undoing it. Don't just undo one at a time, because you can bend stuff. And then you've got to take all your push rods out. Obviously you want to number them. They have all worn to the position that they are in, so it is certainly a good idea to keep them in the sequence that they came out, so that they can go back the same way. This is what I've done: a box, labelled it 1 to 12, so there's 12 push rods, and just put an hole through the box. My box doesn't look too good, but it's doing the job. Then obviously my rocker shaft is off down the back there. All seems okay. Now we are going through the process of undoing the head bolts. Once again, there is a sequence for this. You can find the sequences online. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm going to have to get my paperwork out to remember what the sequence is. But yeah, just undo them in the correct sequence to stop you from damaging the head at all. As per the amazing design process for Triumph, you have a head bolt right next to the cam rocker cover bolt. And you can't get a socket in either of those to get them undone. So what you have to do is get a nut and another nut, put them tight together, and then undo it. Which is a little bit of a ball ache, but it is what it is. Okay, so head bolts are out. Effing hell, this is a pain in the ass. What's happened basically? This stud here has decided it likes the engine block a lot. So what it's done is it's got stuck, and as you can see, I've managed to move it a little bit using some pry bars and a bit of persuasion. So yeah, what I'm having to do now is get a bar in there, make the gap bigger, put a bigger bar in it, make the gap bigger again. I'm just hoping I've got wide enough bars for it to finally let go. So I suppose we're going to find out the hard way. Let's do it. There's something missing from this picture. Oh, it's the head. It was a nightmare to get off. As you saw, this stud here was stuck in the head. I can't remember which one it was. The rusty looking one, this one here. That little bastard didn't want to let go. But it did in the end. Lots of levering, lots of persuasion, and it did go. It didn't come off looking like this. It looked like a disaster when it came off. I hit it with a soft wire wheel to clean it up, get all the old gasket material off. Quite a lot of pitting on this piston. It's the worst one. And something looks like it may have been in that one at some point. Bouncing around. But other than that, cylinder walls look okay. Doesn't look like I've got a hell of a lot of wear on them either, which is quite nice. Not a massive lip. Obviously I still need to figure out some sort of way to clean out all of this gunk that is in the block. I am going to take the pan off in a minute and pop the pistons out actually. I can imagine the piston rings are probably stuck in the pistons, but would not surprise me. That engine that's been sitting this long with all this carbon, I can imagine the piston rings are pretty stuck in there. So that's the next job. Roll it over if I can on my own, because it's a very heavy engine, and see if I can get that sump off. Heavy engine. Don't really recommend doing that yourself. That was a little bit painful actually. I'll put the tray under this end. Obviously we're gonna have a bit of oil come out, lots of water, which I didn't have the tray under there originally, so lots of water came out. It was fairly clean actually. Quite impressed with that. Yeah, so I think what I'm going to do now is tackle taking all of these sump plug bolts or sump belts out and see if we can move the sump. This is more than likely a Triumph 2500 Mark II sump. From what I understand, the sumps are different depending on what car they were going into. Therefore, I need a GT6 sump. Fortunately, that's got one. So we'll take the sump off, and when it comes to refitting the sump, we'll have to take the engine out of that, which is naffed anyway, and take the sump. If this is going to work, please put it down in the comments. It would save me a job. I can't imagine I'm going to get this this engine done and in the car in one video. Right, I've got the 100 million bolts out of the sump, which is brilliant, because not one of them actually fought me. They all came out, which is brilliant. I love it. I'll have some more of that, please. Now what I'm going to do is I'm very gingerly try and remove this this sump, because I don't really want to bend it. Like I said, I'd like to try and keep as much stuff as I can. I don't want to damage anything in case anybody needs anything that I don't need. So I don't like to destroy stuff. This does look like it's had contact with the ground at once or twice at some point in its life. So I don't know. It might just be because it's corroded. Give it a good clean up at some point. Yeah, right, so I'm going to get some lever bars in there, try and peel this thing off. A little bit of a new angle we're trying here. I managed to break it away a little bit. That should come off now, right? Oh yeah. Yeah, there you go, there's a sump. That holds oil. Engine! Inside of engine. Which is good. It's all very black and a little bit peely, which means that oil has been in there a long time. But yeah, all in all, doesn't look too bad under here, which is quite nice. I don't know how far I'm going to go with this engine, but I am toying with the idea of putting cams in it. What, a cam in it. It's got one camshaft. We haven't unveiled that yet, actually. Singular camshaft. I mean, you've got the engine apart. Normally on a normal engine, overhead cam engine, you have to take the timing chain or belt off to do all of this sort of work. Just take the pistons out, take the head off. Not on these, you don't. Timing chain's in here. Your camshaft is about here. And that, as you can see, it actually runs all the way along here to your distributor. And it has a little doodah on there that turns your distributor and tells it how it's all timed up so that you can get your ignition working. That's another job. Toying with the idea of doing cam on it, but the head's got to go off, and I haven't got it turned upside down at the minute anyway. But I'm pretty sure the valve seats haven't been done for unleaded fuel, so the head's got to go off anyway to be redone. So I've not touched the head. The head doesn't look in bad condition. I did turn it over. As we know, everything's a bit crusty. The cylinder head is no different. It is a little crusty. The valves are a little crusty. But all in all, I mean, I've not cleaned it up yet. I will give it a good clean up just to make sure there's no drama. But it doesn't look too bad in here, to be fair. And the engine did turn over freely before I took it apart, so I know these aren't jammed or nothing, which is nice. Okay, so we're back for another day, and we're going to pull the pistons out, get those things out, and see what we're playing with. When I'm taking engines apart, I always make sure that the pistons go back with their matching end cap. So what I do is I always label them with a number, and I also label which direction they were pointing. So I point them towards the front of the engine. I even do the same with the pistons. I don't know if you can see up there. I mean, these ones have been labelled. You can see these ones. They've all been labelled. just so I know exactly which piston came out of where and what cap came off of which piston. So if it goes back together with the same pistons and the same caps, which arguably this might not, with the pitting on one of the pistons that I've got, I might change them, but it's not completely necessary, so I could leave it. I will know that they are going back together with their exact matching parts. I know more modern vehicles, I can't speak for this engine because I've not had one apart before, but more modern engines, the cap and the piston are one piece and then they are broken, so they only go together with the piece that they were manufactured with. So it's always good practice, as far as I'm concerned, always label your your pistons and your end caps and make sure they go back in the exact same place if you're reusing them. It's just good practice, and then when you do get one that is a trouble, you will be absolutely fine. So I don't know if they are manufactured like this or if they are just flat, not a clue. So we'll take it apart and I suppose we'll find out. Okay, so we have the pistons out. 6 pistons all on the desk over there. Have a look at the crankshaft. It seems in fairly good condition. You can see a little bit of marking on there, but using your finger on there you cannot feel it. So I would imagine that that is okay. The worst one that looks the worst is this one here, but once again you put your finger over it. I can't even feel it. I really can't feel it. The finger isn't snagging at all on any of those. So I'm quite happy with the condition of the crankshaft, really. I will be taking the crankshaft out because I want to reseal the plates on either end that seal put the crankshaft in. From the looks of things, you've got like a little plate on the end here that goes onto the block. I'm assuming you'd take that out and you'd do the same on the other end, or actually no, I reckon this end stays. This end comes out and then the crankshaft comes out through the back potentially. I'm going to put all new front and main seals on it anyway, and I also want to reseal this this surface here just in case. I don't want to put it all together and find out that this leaks, and I could have done it while I was there, so I'll take the whole thing out and do it properly. I think the next thing we're going to do is going to be taking the timing gearing off and taking all that apart, take the camshaft out and that. But if we move over here to the pistons, I will show you exactly why I wanted to do this. I think it was piston number 4. It was. There you go. If you have a look here, is it this one? No, it wasn't. Yes, it was this one. You look at this second ring that goes down, not the one that's turning, the one that isn't turning. You see that I'm pressing against it there, yeah? And on this side, there's absolutely no movement at all. That ring is stuck in the piston. So that obviously would have affected our compression. But obviously there is 2 rings on the top there for a reason. This can obviously allow a little bit of oil through it, might start burning a little bit of oil, might lose a little bit of compression. So this is certainly something that if you are this deep into pulling an engine apart, you've got the head off and you're on an engine stand anyway, you may as well take the sump off, take the pistons out and just inspect it, because if I hadn't done that, this ring would have still been in here and would have still been stuck. Okay, so my next job is going to have to be taking off this timing cover, taking all the gearing off, figuring out how these engines are timed up, because I don't know how these are timed up. Obviously, I'm assuming cylinder 1 needs to be at top dead center, and then I don't know how to orientate the camshaft to make it correlate with that. So I'll have to do a little bit of research and figure it out myself, which isn't a problem. But while we're here, I might as well take some reference points and put cylinder 1 at top dead center and just see what lives where and mark it up maybe, or just take a photo so I can put it back together the same way it came apart. I found the best way to get these undone is a little bit of heat and a hammer and chisel to get them started, and then use a screwdriver, because they just round out. Please try not to judge me too much. All of my screwdrivers are broken. Right, we have the timing cover off. I've not had a chance to look in here yet. Well, I did have a chance, but I've decided to pick the camera up instead. I don't know how tight these should be, but a little bit of movement in there. To be fair, they won't be too bad with the tensioner on it. These do have a tensioner, not like your modern car sort of tensioner. It's got a sheet metal which presses against the case, which tensions a chain. So this one's got a little bit of wear on it. I can feel it's not too bad actually. It's not too bad. You can't feel a lot on there. There is a little bit of wear, of course. It has been ran. I don't know what the mileage on this engine was. Doesn't seem too bad, to be fair. Other than taking those stupid flathead bolts out, it wasn't too bad to do, to be honest. I don't know how these engines time up. I think what I'd probably do is just mark some stuff and then do some research to whether there's a proper way to do it. I'm sure there probably is. Yeah, but I'm afraid that is all I've got time for tonight, so I'm gonna pack up now and probably do a bit more tomorrow. So yeah, that'll do us until the next day. Right, we are back and it's another day. I'm going to be taking out the crankshaft today. I'm going to strip it down and then hopefully give the outside a nice clean up. I did give it a go some brake cleaner, but I don't have enough brake cleaner to do it, so I am just going to do what I can to stop shit getting in the engine and then give it a good pressure wash. It's a hot day today, so it shouldn't cause any issues, and I'll make sure I dry it quickly so I don't get any surface rust. Right, first thing I have done is I've just marked up the engine, so I know that the cam and the crankshaft is going to go back together the same way it came apart. Obviously I put a mark there, I put a mark on two of the gears and a mark on the block. They all line up, so I know exactly where they're going. And then once again I've done to the other sprocket on the camshaft. There are 4 holes in this sprocket. I want to make sure the sprocket goes on the same way around, really. That way I know 100% because I can't see any holes in the back of this in the camshaft. So the sprocket goes on the same way around. And make sure the camshaft is going on the same way around as well. And it all goes back together the way it came apart. So what I'll do now is I'm going to take that timing gear off now, and then I will also mark the camshaft to the block as well, so I know the orientation of that when that came apart too. So I'll get the sprocket off. I'm assuming this is how it comes off. I just take these 2 bolts out, sprocket off, chain off. Then I'll mark the camshaft on the block as well, so I know it will go back together the same way. Okay, so cam gear is off. I've got that all timed up, lined up nicely. I'm assuming I can't take the camshaft out until I've got all of the distributor components out of the way. So what I've done while I'm here is I've just marked up this gear in here with this sprocket. I'm assuming the best way to remove this is to somehow figure out how you're going to lift it, maybe with a magnet, and then rotate to get it to unlock, or maybe even turn the camshaft to get it to unlock. We shall see. Get that out as the next job, and hopefully the camshaft comes out after that. I'm not sure. Doesn't look like there's anything else that should hold it in, but yeah, that's the plan anyway. Give that a go. Okay, so this is the little gear that sits in the bottom underneath the distributor. You can see your little wheel there on your camshaft, which is definitely what was stopping my camshaft from coming out. It's quite simple to remove actually. I just got a magnet with an extendable magnet down the bottom there, and I applied a little bit of upward force, and I can't remember if I turned it backwards or anti-clockwise or clockwise, but one of the directions this thing just fell out. So I turned the camshaft, and yeah, this thing fell out, which is lovely jubbly. Lots of crappy looking dirt and oil, so we'll clean that up. All of the surfaces look nice, which is good. It's obviously just had dodgy oil in it for a while. It's not been ran, has it? Which is good. So yeah, I think now we might be ready to take that camshaft out. Let's do that. Okay, so the camshaft doesn't come out yet, which is great because I've figured out why, or at least another reason why it isn't. Obviously the push rods have like little buckets that sit on top of the camshaft. You can see I've taken this one and this one out already. Once again, I'm going to keep these in order. I'll put them down there, as you can see, on the floor. I found the easiest way really for me to get these out is to stick your finger in there, bend it a little bit, and then just work it up and down until eventually the thing comes out. These ones are a little bit stuck in there, but they do eventually come out, as you see. So I'm going to continue doing that until I've got all of them out. Okay, so we finally have some success. Well, that's moved, which means the camshaft is ready to come out. Those little buckets were obviously sitting between the lobes on the shaft, which were stopping it from coming out. I've never taken a pushrod engine apart before, so I didn't even know that those little buckets existed. But yeah, it makes perfect sense that they do. So yeah, getting the camshaft to come out this far, it felt quite stuck. So what I've done is I got a lever bar in here, and I turned and pulled at the same time, and eventually it's come free. Obviously, we all know, well, we might not all know, but the best way to remove a camshaft very delicately and with 2 hands, so I'm going to use 2 hands. Which again, we find ourselves missing something from this picture. I have removed the camshaft. As you can see, it's down here. Fairly longish looking camshaft. It doesn't look like it's in bad condition. It's just looks like it's been sat a long time. Needs a good clean up before I can really judge the condition a lot, but the lobes look nice, and so do the seats for the I suppose bearings. The faces are all okay. Coming out, you will feel that when you get about half or quarter of the way, you'll feel this bit going through the next channel, which will be going through where this originally sat, and well, all three of these will be going through the next stage. It'll get really tight, so what I did is I just got, once again, a lever bar and the two bolts at the end, and I twisted and pulled and then it came out. So that was a nice and easy job with two hands. Obviously you need to get your fingers down here and lift the camshaft up so that you can thread it through the channels nicely, but once you've done that, it does come out quite easily. I suppose the next job for us to do now would be to remove that crankshaft, which I haven't quite figured out how it comes out yet. I was assuming originally that this comes out the back side of the engine. I don't think there's a plate on here, so I need to get the engine off the crane, which is a little bit annoying. Just looking at the design of how this crankshaft is put in, and yeah, it seems I am correct. It does not come out the front, as you can see. It is a solid block, and there's no way to remove it from this end. A normal engine would just have a bunch of caps and you could take it out, but no, not on this one. We've got what looks like an end plate on here, and I'm assuming that'll be bolted from the back side of the engine, which, well, the engine crane's in the way, which is really annoying, which means we've got to get it on the floor and have to roll it around on the floor to do this job, which is a little bit annoying. Yeah, it's not going to come out any other way, so we're gonna have to get this on the floor and do it like that. Okay, so we're getting somewhere with this thing now. Obviously the crankshaft is still in there, you can see that. Since the last clip, I've stuck some hangers back on it, and I've taken the sprocket off, moved the keyway. Make sure you don't lose that, don't leave it in there, whatever you do, because it will fall out and you won't know where it went. I've taken the back plate off, and we've revealed the rear main seal, and well, to be fair, the bit that holds or stops the crankshaft now to come out from just undoing the main bearings. So yeah, I think the next job really, I mean, it'd be great if I had a bench to put this on, but this is a cast iron block and I don't fancy lifting this on my own, so I'm not going to, which is why it's on a crane. I would have liked to have put it on this bench over here, and then I could have played around with it over here, but yeah, the crane isn't going to do that because of the legs, so we'll see what we do. I'll probably end up taking the crankshaft out on the floor, I reckon. Let's do it. Okay, so this appears to be my current engine building setup. As always, I've marked the caps and I'm making sure they stay with their relative bearings. Really the only thing for me to do now is undo it all and take it apart. So I'm going to take these, I think, to be fair actually, I might take out this bearer, take that out of the back, the seal cover, which obviously is the housing for taking the crankshaft out, and take these three out, and then hopefully, I'm assuming the crankshaft goes backwards and then comes out. I'm assuming. I've not done one before on one of these, so we shall find out. Let's do that. Okay, so it appears there was another thing that I was wrong about. Surprise, surprise. So, we actually do have an end cap on here, but the gasket material was actually hiding it, so I couldn't see. We've got a little Phillips here, and down the bottom here we've got another little Phillips. You can see I pulled the gasket material off, and I can see them now. So I'm going to undo them two. I'm assuming this cap will come off, and then there is actually two main bearing bolts down there, which were also covered by gasket material that I couldn't see. I did think it was a bit strange that there was no sort of proper sort of cap on the end of the engine. It was a bit very, very strange. I just thought maybe it was pushed in there, but I just went to take it out and I was like, there's not enough room for that crankshaft to go back to get that through. So yeah, I dug around a little bit and we found another little cap on the end there. So let's take that off and see if we can get this crankshaft out. Alright, so this is a mental note for myself. One is not one, none is one. Okay? None is one. Right, now we've got to pull this crankshaft out. Okay, so just like that, the crankshaft is removed. I've left the bearings in the block for now, but we'll take those out. Crankshaft looks in fairly good condition, other than being absolutely filthy, like everything else. The seats for the bearings look absolutely fine. There's quite a lot of dirt on it, unfortunately, from where it's all broken off the crank. You can see it's come off in lumps. It's just absolutely disgusting. Look at it. So yeah, just needs a really thorough cleaning, and to make sure we don't get anything in the oil ways of this crankshaft. Yeah, so I'm quite happy with it. The next couple of jobs we're gonna have to do now is I've got to hone the block out. I did have a dodgy piston when I took it apart. I'll show you that now. Cleaning products. Cylinder number 6. It looks as if this engine has been overheated at some point, and there's some scoring to the side of the piston. If you look inside the block, there's a little bit of scoring, but it's not horrific. So I'm going to give it a good hone out and see if I can get that cylinder wall to come back. So that's my next job really before I get too involved. I didn't want to hone it out with the crankshaft in there though, because I am going to be throwing like minuscule amount of debris down there. I wanted to get it all stripped down, then give it a good hone out, so I'm going to do that. Okay, so we're going to have to leave that video here. I understand it's probably going to be quite a long one. I did put the video together a little bit when I was taking the cam cover off, and I figured we're at 22 minutes then. There's still quite a lot more footage here, so it's been a long video. So if you made it to the end, I do appreciate it. Now I've just got to get down to the nitty gritty of making sure I get loads of measurements, measure the crankshaft to make sure I can order the correct bearings. I need to hone the block out, then I need to measure the block to make sure I get the right piston rings. You saw the condition of that piston. It will go again. It's obviously not ideal, but I've not got an unlimited budget to spend on this, so I am going to leave those pistons in this engine, just for the point that it's just so much money to put new pistons in it and to do everything perfectly. Then if I'm doing that, I may as well then get the block honed out properly and put oversized pistons in it, and it just increases the cost dramatically. I just can't afford to do that, so there's no point in putting new pistons in it unless I'm honing it out. And I'm determined, if I can bring that block back with a good hone out, sorry, when I said hone a minute ago I meant bore out, if I can give it a good hone out myself and get that cylinder wall back to a state where I'm happy with it, then we will run the same pistons again and see how it goes. But unfortunately for this video, that is it. If you did enjoy it, please like, subscribe. It does help out a lot. I don't upload a lot, I understand that, but I do this for a bit of fun really. It documents the work I've done on my cars over time, so I do enjoy doing it just for the aspect of that. Anybody else who enjoys the content, it's just bonus for me really. So on that note, that is going to be the end of this video, and hopefully we'll see you next time when we're going to be measuring up bits and bobs and getting parts ordered, and hopefully give that a good clean up as well. Hopefully you'll see it a little bit cleaner in the next video. Till the next one, see you guys later.